The wind on Karnak's 4 didn't howl, it scraped. Fine lunar grit rode the chill, carving into exposed flesh like powdered glass. Sergeant Mara Vance hunkered down in the ruins of an old mining relay station, her gloved fingers steadying the sleek matte black body of Whisper, her modified rail sniper. Above, the 2 shattered moons reflected faint glimmers off the jagged steel cliffs, casting fractured light through the clouds of ash and frost. A perfect vantage point. A perfect kill zone. Thermals clear. No motion. Her voice barely a breath as she adjusted her scope. A cracked HUD flickered inside her helmet, fed by scavenged power cells. Just ghosts and rocks. She preferred it that way. Karnak's 4 had once been a promising human mining outpost. Until the Galactic Empire deemed it a logistical interest. Their soldiers hadn't invaded. They'd cleansed, neutron bombs followed by orbital strikes. The civilians didn't stand a chance. Neither did the garrison, except her. Mara was supposed to be dead. The mission log read, evac failed. All personnel lost. She smiled bitterly. Not all. Below, a convoy of 6 Empire crawlers kicked up dust as they rolled toward the communications hub, now a fortress of alloy and arrogance. She marked them one by one. Their columns gleamed with the gaudy pride of occupation, banners, golden trim, ceremonial armor. She cycled the bolt. A faint hum built in the coil chamber. Whisper had no muzzle flash, no sound, only the brief, high-frequency shriek of air molecules splitting apart. "I see you, Zal," she whispered. Commander Zal Turek. Architect of the massacre. The man who smiled on every Empire broadcast, calling Earth's resistance charming but obsolete. Her brother's blood hadn't dried before the Empire filmed their victory speech. Mara had seen it from a feed snagged by her hack sensor drone. Primitive, Zal had said, pacing before a burning human flag. Even their weapons look homemade. Their bullets, quaint. That's when she stopped hiding. Over months she scavenged from wrecked drones, stripped power cells from scorched mechs, and rebuilt Whisper from the ashes of the Empire's mockery. It was no longer just a weapon. It was a promise. She activated her scanner again. Heat signatures bloomed. 12 soldiers. 2 officers. 1 marked high rank, probably a forward logistics captain. No Zal. Not yet. Her comms chirped softly, an intercepted line. Empire dialect, lazy and loud. Still no contact. Maybe the rats finally starved. You mean the ghosts? That's what the last squad called them. Whatever. Orders are to sweep and report. But they're just waiting to surrender again. Laughter. The kind that peeled skin from bone. She tracked the voice, found the source, helmet off, leaning against the crawler with his rifle slung like a fashion accessory. Hubris is a hell of a blindfold, she muttered. Her breath fogged the inside of her mask. She held position for 3 more minutes. Breathing even. Heart rate controlled. A sniper's patience wasn't silence, it was discipline stitched into seconds. Then, crack. No noise from her rifle. Just a sudden jerk in the distance as the officer's head snapped sideways. The crawler's sides smeared red. Shouts erupted. Sniper! Where? Get down! Mara was already moving. Low crawl through the fractured ravine, slipping behind a collapsed relay dish. She disabled her thermal trail with a quick shot of coolant mist. They'd searched the rocks. They always did. She activated her drone. A tiny winged speck burst from a hidden crevice, swooping up and feeding her helmet with distorted audio. What the hell was that? I thought they used slugs. That wasn't a slug. That was clean. No echo, no boom. You think it's the one? The ghost? You're scared of a human with a pop gun? Tell that to Farron's face. Oh wait, you can't. It's gone. She smirked. Back in her hideout, an old comms duct buried beneath the cliffs, she replayed the footage. 1 shot. Clean hit. No collateral. She uploaded the clip to a dummy node, encrypted, bouncing off dead satellites. Earth Command hadn't responded to her last 6 attempts, but that wasn't the point anymore. Let them see. Let every broadcast show what Zal called primitive. She slumped against the wall. Her bones ached. Half her rations were spoiled, and her water recycler was running dry. But the glow in her chest wasn't heat. It was purpose. It was vengeance done right, slow, precise, surgical. A tiny red light blinked on her cracked console. Another intercepted transmission. Zal's voice. Smooth, oily, amused. So the ghost wants to play. Let her. We'll bait the trap at Outpost Gamma. Post a patrol. Make it loud. And if she doesn't bite? She will. These humans can't resist a funeral. He ended the call with a laugh. She clenched her jaw. Her trigger finger twitched. Laugh now, she muttered. She picked up Whisper, rechecked the charge level, and started planning. Outpost Gamma was 7 clicks southeast, a dust bowl with a mock garrison. He thought he'd draw her out like prey. He'd forgotten Earth's first lesson in war. The sniper isn't the prey. She's the storm. The Empire didn't just build fortresses, they built stages. Outpost Gamma was no different. Set atop a plateau, its walls gleamed with ceremonial banners and overdesigned insignias. Floodlights scanned the barren landscape, casting long shadows over soldiers dressed more for parade than war. Sergeant Mara Vance watched from a ridge 2 kilometers out, her eye pressed to Whisper's scope. Inside her helmet, data streamed in pulses, wind direction, humidity, thermal gradients. Numbers danced over target silhouettes. But she wasn't looking at the stats. She was looking for arrogance. She found it in the form of Lieutenant Score. Bareheaded. Laughing. He swaggered across the compound, flanked by 2 officers. A 4th lagged behind, arms full of confiscated gear, likely human-made, probably staged for mockery. Mara narrowed her gaze. Showtime. She synced Whisper's chamber, the electromagnetic coils glowing faint blue. The weapon thrummed softly, ready. Her drone hovered overhead in silent orbit, masking her signal beneath the Empire's own chatter. Sir, one of the junior officers said, pointing to a battered rifle in the pile. Is that an Earth sniper? It's a club, Score scoffed. Metal, powder, noise. Like banging pots together and calling it music. Then how'd they tag Farron yesterday? Fluke. Or sabotage. He grabbed the rifle by the barrel and lifted it like a dead fish. You can't be serious. Look at this thing. It's a museum piece. Laughter followed. A trigger click. 1 heartbeat. Mara fired. Score dropped mid-laugh, skull split clean from temple to jaw. No sound. Just collapse. The officers froze. Then panic. Soldiers shouted. Alarms blared. Red lights spun. Inside her helmet, Mara blinked once, target confirmed. She rolled back from the ledge and crawled into a natural trench, hugging the terrain. Her cloak shifted colors, mimicking the jagged rock around her. She moved quickly, silently, to her exfil path. Her earpiece crackled again. The Empire's internal comms were now a riot of confusion. Sniper! Sniper in Sector 4! No muzzle! It's the ghost! Deploy the drones! Find her! She smiled grimly. Let's see what you find. Her path led through a crevice choked with metallic roots, old mining conduits twisted by time and corrosion. At the base of a forgotten tower, she stopped and activated her remote drone. The little device, shaped like a native bird, zipped across the perimeter, feeding her live visuals. Inside the compound, Zal had arrived. Tall, rigid, adorned in his polished command uniform. A silver crest gleamed on his chest. His face was calm, but his eyes scanned like a hawk. Another officer down, his adjutant reported. No sound. No trail. Just gone. She's not a phantom, Zal said. She's a thorn. Remove it. Orders? Flood the ridge. Scorch every crevice. I want her ashes. He turned and walked away. Mara exhaled. Still underestimating, she whispered. Still thinking in numbers. She reached into her pack and pulled out a transmitter, custom rigged, Lowe's signature. She loaded the recording, Score's mockery, the moment of death, the panicked aftermath. Edited. Tight. She tapped send. The signal burst outward, bouncing off a relay hidden in a dead satellite orbit. If Earth Command was listening, they'd receive it. If not, someone else would. It didn't matter who watched. It only mattered that they saw. She made it back to her hideout by nightfall. The shaft's entrance was sealed behind a false rock wall. Inside, dim light glowed from a salvaged lamp. Her rations were nearly gone, but adrenaline fed her more than food. Mara sat cross-legged, cleaning Whisper. Each component had a memory. The barrel from a downed recon drone. The scope from a dismantled rover. The core from a captured Empire railgun. They called Earth's tech primitive. But their lead just dropped to a weapon built in shadows, fired from a ghost. She rubbed a finger across the nameplate etched on her rifle's spine. Aiden Vance. Her brother's name. He'd died in this war believing surrender meant survival. The Empire proved him wrong. Her grip tightened. Another alert blinked. Intercepted again. Zal's voice returned. Pull all forward units. We'll bait her with real flesh. Sir? We'll make her choose. Civilians from the lower tunnels. Let her watch them burn. If she fires, we'll track the projectile. If she doesn't, she loses her nerve. Mara's blood chilled. There were still survivors in the old tunnels? She hadn't seen signs. No movement, no signals. But Zal spoke with certainty. Maybe his troops found a pocket of workers, hiding where she'd never looked. She stood quickly, heart pounding, mind already mapping the terrain. This wasn't just war anymore. This was a challenge. Zal wasn't mocking now. He was testing her limits. But she wasn't the one about to break. The old tunnel system beneath Karnak's 4 ran like veins under scorched skin, winding, buried deep, untouched since the first bombings. Mara moved fast, ducking through collapsed corridors, using her drone to scan ahead. Cracks in the walls hissed steam. Somewhere, metal groaned like a dying beast. If Zal found civilians, they'd be in the ventilation nests near the mine shafts. Too deep for satellite scans. Too risky for extraction. Perfect for bait. She reached a rusted maintenance hatch. Behind it, silence. Mara knocked 3 sharp taps. Nothing. She tried again. Slower. Then, a response. 2 knocks, cautious. She eased the hatch open. A face stared back. Yum. Hollow-eyed. Covered in soot. Human? The girl whispered. Mara pulled her mask off. Sergeant Vance. I'm not Empire. The girl stepped aside. Behind her, maybe a dozen survivors huddled in the dark. Men, women, 2 children. All ragged, malnourished, breathing fear. They said we were forgotten, one man muttered. You weren't, Mara said. But you're not safe anymore. She explained the trap. Zal's plan to burn them alive and draw her into the open. The air grew heavier with every word. He'll do it? The woman asked. Mara didn't lie. He's already on his way. A low sob broke from the corner. The children clung to each other. Mara crouched beside them. I'm going to move you. You'll follow my lead, keep silent, and stay low. Understood? They nodded, wide-eyed. She guided them through the tunnels, marking safe zones and fallback routes. Every creak echoed like a scream. She counted their steps, memorized their pace. No time for error. By dusk, they reached the outskirts of her hideout. A concealed shaft hidden behind a veil of stone and synthetic camouflage. It was barely big enough for all of them, but it would hold. For now. You'll be safe here, Mara said. The man frowned. What about you? She gave him a tight smile. I've got a message to send. Back in her sniper nest, she reassembled Whisper and activated the modified transmitter. The earlier footage had reached its mark. Earth Command sent a brief acknowledgement, encrypted ping, followed by one word. Continue. It was enough. But Mara had something better than footage now. Proof. She reviewed the drone feed, Zal's convoy closing in, flamethrower units at the rear. They marched like performers, uniforms pristine, banners snapping in the wind. They came for a show, she muttered. Let's give them one. She adjusted her scope. The officer in front barked orders. A fire team spread out around the tunnels, setting charges. 2 others dragged crates of fuel toward the vents. Mara marked the one giving commands. No helmet. Arrogant. Confident. She tagged him. Breathe in. Breathe out. Fire. His chest caved in before the others registered the kill. He dropped, mouth open, eyes frozen mid-blink. Panic again. She fired twice more, one shot through a rifle's power core, another into a fuel tank beside a flame unit. Explosion. Screams. Smoke poured into the night. Zal's voice crackled on the emergency channel. Pull back! Regroup! Identify the shooter! Mara activated her secondary drone, a small projector the size of a fist. It hovered into the air and beamed the recorded footage directly onto a cliff face above the camp. The image appeared, Empire soldiers mocking human weapons, laughing. Then Score's death. Clean. Instant. Followed by the next. And the next. Over it, her voice echoed. You think we're primitive. You think we're gone. But every time you laugh, someone bleeds. The projection cut. Silence fell over the ridge. Empire squads stood still. No orders. No movement. Even the wind held its breath. Then Zal snarled through the comms. Find her. Burn the ridge. Leave nothing but shadows. But Mara was already moving, slipping through the terrain like smoke. She reached the fallback trench just as the Empire drones began their sweep. They flew low, sensors sweeping, scanning for energy trails. But Mara left none. Her suit was patched with absorbent mesh, her boots padded, her rifle cooled. The drones passed over her hiding spot and kept going. She waited an extra minute. Then another. Then she rose. The civilians were safe. The message was sent. Earth knew she was alive. And Zal knew she wasn't afraid. But he wasn't finished. Neither was she. She tapped her comm and whispered into the silence. Next time, I aim higher. The smoke from the exploded fuel tank still lingered, curling above the ridge like a funeral veil. Sergeant Mara Vance stood in its shadow, eyes fixed on the horizon, where Zal's command center loomed, cold, geometric, untouched. He was still out of reach. She needed to change that. Inside her hideout, the civilians remained tucked away, silent, grateful, unaware of what came next. Mara crouched beside a rusted crate and opened her emergency kit. One signal booster, half fried. One stolen Empire data tablet. And a transponder coil she'd salvaged from a downed scout pod 2 months ago. It would have to be enough. She linked the parts, rerouted the power flow, and tapped into the Empire's secure uplink, just long enough to ping their classified comms. A shadow play. Bait. She uploaded a coded message with a forged Empire signature, marked Eyes only, Zal. In the message, GPS coordinates. Faked. Marked Human refugees located. She tagged it with one more line, irrelevant to Empire algorithms, unmistakable to Zal. From the ghost. Come see for yourself. She powered down, wiped her tracks, and moved. The coordinates pointed to a bluff 3 kilometers north. Bare rock, no cover, sheer drop. Death trap by design. She'd pre-rigged it days ago with magnetic mines and directional charges. It was never meant for a fight. It was meant for closure. Zal came. He brought 5 transports and a personal escort. Elite guards, chrome-plated, armed to the teeth. She watched from a hollow above the bluff, face calm, heart flat. Zal exited the lead crawler, stepping onto the ledge like it belonged to him. He scanned the rocks, expression unreadable. Mara Vance, he said aloud, voice carrying on the thin wind. You could have run. You could have hidden. But you chose to be a pest. She activated her voice relay. Pests don't bury 5 of your officers in a week. He didn't flinch. You've made your point. But this is where it ends. You sure? She asked. You're standing in a minefield. His eyes narrowed. He signaled his troops to hold position. I don't bluff, Mara added. He glanced down. A faint beep echoed beneath his boot. Zal's foot froze mid-shift. His guards tensed. Mara continued. I didn't bring you here to kill you, Zal. Not yet. Then why? To show you that you're not in control. Zal's lips curled into something between a smile and a sneer. You've built yourself into a myth. 1 woman. 1 gun. I don't believe in myths. That's why they become legends. He chuckled. You're stalling. For what? A rescue? Earth doesn't even know you're alive. They do now, she said. She triggered the drone. Above them, her projector came to life again, this time broadcasting live. Not edited. Not filtered. Just raw feed. The bluff. Zal standing alone. The landmines. The commander of an Empire regiment exposed. Somewhere, on a distant station, officers would be watching. Civilians too. Maybe even recruits questioning why the primitive kept winning. Zal looked up at the projection, jaw tight. You'll die out here, he said. Starved, hunted. And nothing will change. Maybe, Mara replied. But you'll always remember the moment you stood surrounded by your own lies and couldn't do a thing. She tapped her detonator, not to explode, but to activate a sonic pulse. The mines chirped. Their signals flared bright red under his feet. She wanted him to feel every second of the vulnerability he forced onto others. I could end this, she said. Right now. Zal didn't move. Then why don't you? Because you haven't earned a clean death yet. Then she vanished, slipping into the rock fissure behind her, cloak activated, sensors off. She moved low, fast, away from the bluff as Zal barked orders behind her. Sweep the area! Find her trail! Too late. She reached her secondary hideout an hour later, a downed transport buried under regolith. Inside, stale air, but safety. Mara pulled off her helmet, sweat cooling on her brow. She stared at her rifle resting beside her. Whisper didn't gleam. It didn't hum with vanity. It breathed efficiency. Precision. Her comm pinged. New message. Not from Earth Command. A private transmission, anonymous header, encrypted. She opened it. 1 line. We see you. We believe. Keep going. Mara leaned back. Not alone. Not forgotten. Not done. A dust storm swept over Karnix 4, cloaking the cratered plains in shades of rust. The perfect curtain. Sergeant Mara Vance moved beneath it, silent as breath, crawling toward the Empire's uplink tower. This was no bluff. This was the final play. The tower loomed like a monolith, 60 meters of alloy and arrogance. Its base was surrounded by perimeter drones, motion turrets, and a triad of guards pacing in choreographed boredom. Zal had tightened defenses, but not enough. He believed she'd stay in the shadows. He was wrong. She reached the perimeter fence. Its sensors pulsed red along the mesh, but she didn't touch them. Instead, she pulled out the drone coil, the one she'd risked salvaging last week, and clamped it to the nearest node. It emitted a signal just sharp enough to confuse the Empire's sensors into blinking. 2 seconds. That's all she needed. She slipped through. Inside the perimeter, her body pressed flat against the wall. 1 breath, then a slide to the right. She found the blind spot in the turret arc she'd mapped weeks ago. Precision made permanent. The guards spoke in hushed tones, unaware. Commander's paranoid now. Wouldn't you be? That sniper's still out there. They say she's just 1 soldier. Then how come we're losing people like it's a ghost war? Mara moved before they could finish. 1 stun shot, low power. 2 down. The third turned, opened his mouth, never got a sound out. She hit him clean with the butt of her rifle, then dragged him behind a support beam. Time ticking. Inside the uplink tower, lights flickered green along a row of consoles. The system ran on hybrid power, plasma core with solar backup. She'd have to fry the auxiliary before launching the data burst. Otherwise, they'd shut it down midstream. She pulled out her patch drive and connected it to the main terminal. It pulsed. Her prepared transmission loaded, every kill she'd made, every intercepted comm, every moment of Empire cowardice, arrogance, and failure. All under the title. Primitive, they said. She checked the satellite feed. Earth channels aligned. The burst would reach them all. But just before she hit send, the screen changed. Zal. Live feed. Face close. Calm. I knew you'd come, he said. Mara didn't flinch. Didn't think you'd still be hiding behind glass? He tilted his head. You could kill me now. Shut down my reputation. But then what? They'll call you a terrorist. A lucky insect. She smiled. And you? What'll they call you when they see this? She hit transmit. The tower lights dimmed. The air shifted. The signal flared upward into orbit, pinging satellites, spreading across networks faster than anyone could scrub. Zal's eyes narrowed. You've made your choice. I made it the day your soldiers shot a medic holding a white flag. He leaned back in his chair. You won't make it out of that tower alive. I don't need to, she replied. Behind her, the solar array detonated. She'd rigged it earlier, an EMP charge built from 2 scavenged power cores. It surged through the system, frying every camera, every auto-defense grid, every drone within 5 kilometers. The lights died. The uplink went dark. But the signal was already out. She grabbed her rifle, tossed a flash charge behind her, and vanished into the smoke before the first reinforcements arrived. They swept the tower, found nothing but burn marks and dead silence. Zal watched from orbit, face pale, fists clenched. 2 days later, across 3 neutral star systems, the footage aired. On battle stations. On trade hubs. In frontier cantinas. Unfiltered, uncensored. They saw the Empire laugh. They saw officers drop. They saw Zal outplayed. They saw a lone human sniper turning mockery into message. Mara became a symbol. The ghost of Karnix. The Crosshairs echo. The one-shot rebellion. And the final frame? Her standing over Zal's transmission feed with the words, "We're not primitive. We're precise." Back on Karnix 4, inside the old shaft, Mara sat with the survivors. Children now smiled. The wounded rested. The old man she'd saved handed her a data pad. "Message from Earth," he said. She tapped it. "Evac team inbound. Coordinates received. Hold position. You are not alone." She closed her eyes, exhaled. Not forgotten. Not erased. Not a ghost anymore. But the crosshairs still sat ready beside her. Because wars end slow. And some messages echo louder than screams.